So in the first part of the series, How Can Nurse Staffing Agencies Get Paid Quicker?, I explained the importance of doing some level of due diligence way before even signing on the dotted line and agreeing to a contract with the facility. This next part, part two, is all about generating invoices, and there's three specific topics that I'm going to review that's going to ensure the invoices are going to be paid quicker. Those three topics are wording on your invoice, the timeliness that you send the invoice out, and also where you're sending your invoices to. First and foremost, every nurse staffing agency owner should include some key information on their invoices when they send them out. Things as simple as your company's contact information, the date the invoice was issued, the date or dates that nurses were being staffed, a brief description of what the services were. So usually is the nurse's name, the hours worked, the amount that you charge per hour, and also be sure that you include who you're billing right on that invoice, as well as the total amount due, and finally a due date. And I want to stress that nurse staffing agencies should include a due date on their invoice, because a lot of times we see the terms, pay on receipt, and that really leaves the door wide open for medical facilities just to basically pay the invoice whenever they want, because they could always say, well, I didn't receive the invoice until X date, or they could say, B, no one really pays an invoice on receipt, especially large medical facilities. So it's best to have a specific terms on the invoice, whether it's net 15 or net 30, or even better, a specific due date. And also some type of wording you can include on your invoice. It's kind of a trick to get the invoice paid sooner, is to offer some sort of incentive for the invoice to pay on time. So we've seen a lot of clients at PRN funding that have explicitly written on their invoices that there's a different price if the hospital pays within 10 days, or if the hospital pays within the normal terms. If you include that language right next to the due date and the total amount due, that they'll get a discount on the invoice if they're paid within 10 days, then an accounts payable clerk is more likely to process that invoice faster. In addition to paying attention to the correct wording on your invoices, the second important thing you want to include is to make sure that you send out your invoices on time. Basically, medical facilities, hospitals, nursing homes, long-term care facilities already have a pretty good reputation of paying really slowly. So why would you want to add to that timeline by waiting to send out your invoices? And basically, a hospital can't pay you if they don't know what they owe. So, truth be told, if you want to get paid quicker, send your bill out quicker. Finally, it's really important for nurse staffing agency owners to send their invoice to the right location and also in the right format. So some of these larger facilities will have the AP department located at a headquarters, or the headquarters of a healthcare system, or maybe the AP department is right at the facility. Some medical institutions work with vendor management systems or VMSs, so is that a secondary place where you need to send an invoice? Or some may be really small and there's just one specific invoice or one specific person that processes all the invoices. So you need to make sure that you know where you're sending the invoice before you send it. And finally, the format. What format does the medical vendor or does the medical facility prefer you send it? Some facilities are okay with email, some prefer hard copies mailed, and some can accept faxes. So the moral of the story is to ask, learn, and customize your invoices to the exact way that the facility requires, and you'll see that you'll get paid a lot quicker. So in summary, if you have the correct information on your invoices, you send them out in a timely manner, and they're all sent to the right location and in the right format, it's going to play a huge part in getting paid quicker. So the final part of this series I'll go into is going to focus on improving the collections process. And again, that'll be the third part of this series, how nurse staffing agencies can get paid quicker. For more information, please feel free to visit PRN Funding's website at www.prnfunding.com.